Hello again. Yes, I'm live this morning outside the Houses of Parliament, one of the iconic buildings here in London, and one which thousands of Kiwis will flood to see when they're here during their rite of passage, of course, the Great OE. But numbers have fallen dramatically in recent years, and it could have something to do with UK visa restrictions. Check out these numbers from Statistics New Zealand. Last year, just over 4,500 Kiwis came to the UK to live permanently or long term. Compare that with the year 2000, that's just 12 years ago, when more than 12,400 headed to the UK. Cause for concern? Well, I recently asked the Prime Minister what he's doing about it. Has there been any more communication or chat about the UK visa issue since you've returned?
I think our officials are continuing to work on it, and I certainly sent a letter to David Cameron after my visit, just reiterating the view that we want to make sure that New Zealanders can have access to good jobs over there, not just for the sort of 2-year OE.
It's so frustrating, isn't it, given how closely our two countries are aligned?
Actually, I think it's a bit frustrating for the British themselves. So what the issue here is that because they're now part of the European Union, they have no access or control over their borders. People are flooding in. That means about 250,000 people pouring into the United Kingdom. They're trying to reduce those numbers. So the only place they can reduce it is areas where they have control. They have no control in Europe. They do have control with us. So you still can go for your 2-year OE, but you fundamentally can't really work in those really easy jobs. So it doesn't affect a huge number of New Zealanders, but it means that if you've got a good job in London and you're past your 2 years, you've got to come back to New Zealand, and they've got to prove actually that there's nobody in the European Union that could fill that job, and that's a pretty big ask.
You do, though, have support from London Mayor Boris Johnson, who's called for some sort of bilateral agreement.
I mean, Boris is fantastic on the issue. He is passionate about Kiwis. He's the Mayor of London. So many Kiwis in London. He's seen what they've done over the course of decades. So, yeah, he is a great supporter, but at the end of the day, the issue is now controlled by the British government.
I guess there's a silver lining, though. We get the Kiwis who come home, they can't go back, and they're here now with the money they made from the OE and, of course, the expertise they bring back.
Yeah, we are, and that's good news. And as I said, it's in the thousands that are affected, not in the tens of thousands. But all we said to the British government is, look, maybe there's a way of working our way through this where we could just make it a little easier for them to apply if they're in the United Kingdom without having to come all the way back to New Zealand. We're not asking for a major change. And look, I've got to say, David Cameron and the British government are very supportive of New Zealand, but they're trying to control this bigger picture that they've got major issues with.
Would you ever consider making a gesture, make it easier for Brits to come here?
Well, we already make it very easy for them. If you wander
Too
around,
easy?
No, not too easy. I think if you wander around Christchurch now, you'll see a lot of Irish builders there, and they're doing extremely well. Britain's still our #1 source of migrants to New Zealand.
Well, the boss of the Houses of Parliament behind me, well, the boss, I guess, effectively, David Cameron, that's the UK Prime Minister, says he really values the Kiwis who come here and work. And we just heard John Key talking about Boris Johnson, London Mayor. He says the visa situation is a disgrace. We're going to hear from both of them a little later.